There goes Bob.
Babaloo Pop. And we're live on YouTube.
That's scary.
Hello, YouTube.
Hey. Switch. There we go. Hi, and welcome to Cockatude, Cockatoos with Attitude. And speaking of Cockatoos with Attitude, we got Cecil training Mander. We have Mander with us today, and Cecil, and Pippa, and Snowball, who's sleeping. He's got a bigger cage now, but there's a cage up in Vegas, which is like the one I had. It's the 507 King's cage. He might be moving up to an even bigger cage here shortly. I don't know. They want me to go up there and get it, and I can't. I just can't do that. So, but apparently someone's going to try to bring it to us. So they were talking about it as an outside aviary, and they were giving me the dimensions. I said, that sounds like a king's cage. That's just an inside cage for a cockatoo. So
That's
I will.
great. We are all happy for Snowball.
I get the feeling they're going to put it on a trailer, or I'll just pay them their gas or whatever they want. They're not. It's not their cage, but somebody died, and they're trying to get all these birds out of there and all the cages and everything. So anyway, let's see. Then we got Jazzy Jazzbird up there, Jasmine, and Lucy Bird, and Chickenbird, and KK back there with his new box. He chewed the other one up. Yeah, it's been a busy morning. I did the laundry, including those canvases on the floor, which I had to rearrange because now I've got different things in here. So I think I need one more canvas, but and of course I made their breakfast, plus I had to make their base of their mash for the week. And they got a little something special in their breakfast this morning. You know, I made some cornbread, and it's cornbread that's both human and bird. It's good for both. So they got a little cube of cornbread in there. I try to give them something different every day. Plus, I had to go around and give them all some greens. I got some really good looking kale at Smith's here in town. So that's the place for vegetables. Too bad we don't have stands, but you know, nothing would last very long out there in the heat. So they don't really have, in the winter, they have vegetable and fruit stands. In the summer, they don't. Beep, beep. Oh, did I get your tail? I did. That wasn't fair, was it? No. It's been a busy morning. Now we got I found a place called, well, most people probably heard of Uline, but they're basically office products. They have 24 by 36 newsprint. It's newspaper. It's literally just a newspaper without the print on it. So in sheets, you can get it in rolls too, but that's a pain in the rear to have to stand there and measure it and cut it off. But so I got 2 big boxes. I get 1,600 sheets of that today. They go about, with the freight added, it's about 8 cents a sheet. So it's good for putting in the bottom of the cages. Cecil, you're being a Cecil bird. Oh, big news last night. Romeo, I've been sitting next to his cage and I put on, a friend of mine recommended, I don't watch TV generally, but they know I like the movie Serenity. So they told me about Firefly. So I'm sitting there watching. I've watched how many episodes with him now? Like 6 or 7. And you have to take your mind off of him. If you stare at him, he won't come over. So you have to look away at something. So I put that on. And he doesn't like playing with phones. He doesn't like phones. So I put it on, and he's been coming over and putting his head on my thigh and letting me pet him. And if I don't pet him, he grabs my finger and drags it back to him so I'll pet him, which is funny. But last night he got on my lap and stayed there. So,
Oh, that's really sweet.
yeah, he's coming back. The problem is, you get him back and he's all normal, and one little thing goes wrong, and then you got to do it all again. But when I have to do his nails, he'll probably revert. I was going to do them Sunday, but I passed because I've been having steps forward with him. So, but he does need his nails done. Everybody in this room is ready for another nail treatment. Right, Cecil? Sea salt. Sea salt. Snowball. He likes his cage, but I think if I can get him that other cage, if they bring it, which I have a feeling they're going to bring it all put together, which sounds great, except I will have to take it apart, bring it in, and put it back together. It won't fit through the front door. 36-inch wide cage will not fit through the front door. It's 36 wide, 6.5 feet tall, and 4 feet wide, just like her cage. This one's cage. He's got a cage about the same size. It's a little smaller, but it's a cow cage. He doesn't do well in the king's cages. He takes the bars off them. Like, oh, this is fun. I'll just take the bars off of this. What are you doing up there? Okay, I'm just checking. Hey, Cecil. What's up, Cecil? I had one of your toys. What did you do with it?
He's looking very adorable.
No, he is. He's Mr. Adorable. And the manager's going to stay with us as long as Bob isn't in here. Bob just he's gotten to the point now where he can sit here even if Bob's on my lap, but Bob just won't stop. He just keeps eyeing him and eyeing him. Like, it reminds me of being in Colton, California. If you eye somebody, they'll attack you, Someone forgot to block his phone, so I need to do that now. Bear with me a second while I put on the online block focus online meeting. There we go. Otherwise, I'll keep getting phone calls.
We can say hi to our YouTubers. So we got Michelle and Falconsu and Bazia. And that's our YouTubers. So hi, guys.
Hello. Hope you guys are doing well. I've had a busy morning, but I'm starting to get back to my old Energizer Bunny type of personality, but I can do that every other day now, but then day in between, I got to go, I had, it's been, 2 days since I got the wood chips off the floor, so I had to pull all this out, and all of these were underneath these new stands we got donated, so I had to yank them out of there and then get all the toys out of them, and then then pile all the wood chips in one place and get them in the trash. And just one thing after another. I know that I got up and I haven't stopped until now. Just sit down. So you saw me, didn't you, Snowball? Snowball. There's a Snowball. And the headless bird. You almost always have a headless bird somewhere. JK, what you doing over there? Hey, buddy, what are you doing? He's doing great. He's down to almost no medicine now. He's not clucking. Yeah, this cage that's up in Vegas, the people are terribly nice, but I mean, this is heavy. I mean, the top of these cages is about 75 pounds. To take them apart, you got to get that piece off first and then unbolt everything. And you end up with a whole bunch of heavy pieces. I don't think there's anything that weighs less than 40 pounds, as far as the pieces go. And try to fit them in a small vehicle or put them onto a trailer. They've got a trailer, but that's going to raise the gas cost to get it here. But asking me if I can come up there. The problem is, if there's a lot of different things that run through your mind, but the worst one is if I have to go to the vet, that's one thing. But if I have to go out somewhere and for some reason I can't get back that day, I'm going to have possibly a dead bird when I get back, and I can't tolerate that. So I try not to go to Vegas unless it's an absolute necessity, like having to go to a vet. And having been certified as a light duty mechanic, I know that you never know when a vehicle's going to fail. So it doesn't have a lot of miles on it, but something could go wrong.
Yeah, you have to be prepared for any eventuality.
Yeah, I've got AAA and all that, but the question is, how do I get back in time? Because a lot of these AAAs don't like to go the long distance, especially when they're going to have to drive an hour and a half to get you back. So those cages aren't cheap anymore either. I don't remember the last time I looked, but I just about choked when I saw what they were. I think I got a deal on Romeo and Bob's cages. The owner sent them to me. I think they were $800 a piece, and they're not that now. Oh, that's for sure. And then you have to have them sent to got to go to like a substation where they have just a truck station, so you can't have them delivered to your place. So I had to pack them in the back of the truck I had at the time. But now they double the price, if or more. So I'm crossing my fingers they'll bring it. I got the feeling they're trying. So hey, what are you doing up there? Because he could certainly use one of those cages. He likes those big cages. And then the other one I just bought, I paid for it, but is a good one for either Pippa or Cause. Let's see what other one is. Someone has
Amanda getting framed. Lucky Amanda getting framed. That's so nice.
There's Amanda. Now Cecil's good about preening other birds. He probably would like to get preened himself, but I usually end up doing either Bob does it or I do it. But today it'll have to be me because Bob will be here later. Well, you see. Has to be the hawk that generally comes out at this time of day. Yeah, you sure about that? Take your word. Yeah, probably put KK in the foods that if you get that one that no the snowballs in there. Yeah? Are you sure? You are? I just put on my sound in there. So I don't know if it'll make that sound any quieter for you guys, but I'm pretty much either I'm used to it or I just like my hearing.
Yeah, you sound a bit muffled.
Yeah. It's gonna sound that way with the condenser mic no matter what I do, because cockatoos can be a little loud.
It looks like KK is taking the makeshift again in front of the window to watch out no one is coming for the vlog.
Yeah, he found a spot for sure for the black.
He's taking it. He's really serious.
Yeah, he is. Good boy, you came in today, Amanda.
But Amanda, oh, look at that cutie pie. Is he going to do some jungle sounds today? Mander, salamander, mander, salamander. Nope. Manda's like the phone aunties are embarrassing. Mander.
Mander, salamander. Mander, salamander.
He thinks humans are so cringe.
I like how he has put out his wings.
Good voice, salamander. That's Amanda salamander.
Okay, we have here some ideas from GTH. Because Babalu and Kazi both have obviously issues with Amanda. His idea, he's writing bad idea. Babalu and Kazi group therapy in the socialization room. Babalu and Kazi have even issues with each other, so that would be interesting.
I don't know if Cozy has issues with Manda, but she definitely does with Bob.
Yeah, there's no question there. The cause, boy, she's so fast. I'm pretty quick. I mean, when it comes to catching them, when there's something like that, but she moves so fast, she could really hurt Bob fast. The problem is Bob won't understand it, and then they'll get into it a little bit. Bob will be trying to run away, and she'll nail him. So. They are getting better. I have had them in the same room, but I have to limit how many birds are in here when I do that. And I don't know how many people do this kind of thing where they actually get them out and socialize them. But being social animals, and that's the other thing. If I went to Vegas to pick that up, even though everything goes right, I can't get them out. I won't have the time. I'll get back and I'm done for the day, and I can't take them out. And They really don't do well when they don't get taken out. This one too. This sugar one, you have to raise her dosage a little bit if she doesn't get out. So when she's already on such a high dose, I don't like to do that.
She has found someone to preen her.
Oh yeah, Cecil volunteering. Didn't they ever tell you that? Weren't you in the military? Never volunteer. That's what they teach you.
He's such a good boy, though.
So GTH has also another question about KK. Might some fake bars inside the window put KK at ease about the outside wildlife? Maybe he wouldn't feel the need to be on guard. I think he likes to be on guard. So
I think he does too, but I could always pull the curtain. Of course, once you do that, then he goes over in there and tries to tear it up. The reason the curtain's to the side like that is because he pokes holes in it if you put it all the way over. So it's if it's warm in the morning, which that's more in the winter here, then I close it. And once the sun's off the windows, you open it back up. But
and I think it's actually a good thing when he tries to integrate into the flock by doing flock duties. So if he has the feeling he needs to protect the flock, I think that's good.
Yeah, it's instinctual. That part's definitely instinctual, wanting to be part of a flock. I don't think he feels totally part of it yet, but if he did, he'd be interacting with more birds. But they get everybody cleared out of here but him, and then he comes over and sits with.
Well, we see it just at the moment. Even the shuk bird, who was barely interacting with anyone, is now interacting heavily. So I think he will get to it, because when even super hard case Shuggy is winding up the Cecil, then
well, Shuggy is a very needy.
Yeah, she does that with Lorelei, and she also does it with Snowball. Tries to get them to preen. It seems like.
Oh, look at KK all dressed up. Oh no, has he seen something?
He's being a KK bird. Hi, KK. Yeah, in this world, all the white birds are the servants, and the pink ones run everything. So.
Well, the pink ones are the strange cousins of the white ones. The really strange cousins. No one knows what has happened on that island. What was in the water, or if some aliens have mixed them up, but they are definitely big, pink, and special.
Yeah, I think they run everything. They're funny.
Yeah, but it's more like they own the business, but when it comes to messing everything up, it's the Triton thing.
Yeah, the Triton's the employee you can't control. Cecil, what are you doing?
But to be honest, I really think all these cockatoos look like they think they are in charge. So
yeah, the only difference with the pink birds is the pink ones don't preen anybody, and they want to be preened. They expect to be preened. It's a requirement. But we're way above that. We can't do that. You have to do it to me. I don't know how to do that. It's like the guy that says he doesn't know how to wash dishes, so he leaves a few of them dirty when he washes them. So that's so the woman goes, "Oh, that's okay. I'll do the dishes." That's exactly the plan.
Yep.
Hi, Cecil. You see yourself? Yeah, that's the Cecil bird.
Well, he's such a handsome Cecil bird.
Oh my, you're so precious. Precious Cecil boy looking for some fans out there, saying hi. Hi,
So
special hi to the Cecil fan club out there.
He just went around and preened everybody, and he comes to me to get his preen. So that's the way it works.
Mm.
Although Bob will preen him. I mean, later today, I'm sure that Bob will do that. But
The Falcons is wondering where Cecil's toy is today.
right on the floor in front of us. I figured he'd go get it, but he hasn't. You haven't got your toy. You haven't got your toy.
We have actually
so
an evidence photo of Babalu playing with a rattle ball. Cecil? Yeah, Babalu is alive.
Yeah, Cecil used to.
He's your bestie.
He used to fight Bob about playing when Bob would pick up his toys, but he doesn't do that anymore. Mm-hmm. Although he might do that with a brand new one. I haven't ordered any new ones. I should do that now. I had somebody donate some money for toys. So someone whose name shall remain nameless, right? KK thinks that he should have 20 blocks of wood a day.
Yeah, someone who should remain nameless. It's like in that one Simpson episode where Skinner is not trying to, to say it was Lisa Simpson, so he says L Simpson. No, let's say Lisa S. So it's like it's exactly like that. I think that's the episode when she stops eating meat, but I'm not completely sure. But I think it's a really popular one.
I've actually never seen an episode of The Simpsons.
That's hilarious. That's exactly what the rest of the world thinks about you American people.
Maybe I should watch one if that's because that would be funny. But
especially
the seasons are very good.
Yeah, especially the older ones. You grab the the core of it. I wouldn't say that the new one are bad, but it's like the old one are just have cult status now, especially some.
I have seen some episodes of South Park, but
I know that.
And I like the philosophy of South Park. They attack everybody, but it's just they go after everything and everyone, and it's funny the way they do it. I saw that one episode where the parents were trying to get all the kids to get chicken pox. It's a strange thing, that we want to get our kids sick. Yeah, it is a strange thing.
It is.
Odd, but
oh wait, there's Pippa. I just see her now snoozing inside the cage.
Yeah, that's funny. She just climbed in there. I brought her in here. She was on top of the cage next to Snowball, and she climbed in.
And sneezing.
Bless you.
That kind of approves our theory that she does it at least partly to get a little bit attention. Because basically she blended in perfectly, and now we look so, hey, Pippa, sneeze.
Yeah, she wasn't sneezing.
Cute.
Yeah, it could be. It drives me crazy, but it could be. I got her to the vet, and they checked her out, and there's nothing wrong with her. But although I have noticed that she does sneeze more after she preens. So it might be that she's allergic to just cockatoo dust, which wouldn't be unusual. It's not good for them, but
it's certainly not that they are prepared for inhaling it.
And I mean, I've got the humidifier, which the other rescuer who brought that cage that Snowball's in now, the bigger cage, looked at it and wants to get one because the living room was 43% humidity, and outside it was 8%. So she said, I'm going to have to get one of those. That was a lot of hunting to find that thing. Most of the humidifiers just won't do it. And the ones that will are mechanical. And when you get them, they're moving discs inside that, that's not going to last very long. It's going to break down. So I found this one. It's ultrasonic, has a UV lamp in it to kill any bacteria that forms inside the canister. You still have to clean it every day. But
That sounds good.
Yeah. And you put it on automatic and it will use the least amount of water it can in the air. So, but still, it's a 5-gallon container, a 20-liter container.
Wait, 5 gallons are 20 liter.
Yeah, pretty close. Not
So
exact, but it's about.
Is a car who needs 11, who needs 1 gallon per 11 miles, is that good or bad?
That's bad.
Okay, then that joke was in the today's Simpson episode where they praised the Pioneero hybrid. 11 miles, 1 gallon. So yeah, it's a huge SUV.
Yeah.
And it has the greatest sound ever for the advertisement. Pioneero.
Yeah, 11 miles per gallon. That's very American.
Yeah.
I think for something that would be decent, you'd be talking 40 or 50 miles per gallon.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it's a hybrid, it's obviously even worse. So.
Yeah, you should be getting 60.
The van we got donated to us, which they told me how much money I had to spend, and they wanted me to get a van. So I researched. I used a company called CarMax, but I researched and tried to find a van that would get the maximum amount of mileage. Most vans are between 8 and 11. I found one which I think is stolen Japanese technology. It's a Dodge, but when you read up on the engine, there's nothing there that looks like American technology. But it does 25, and I mean it does too. We load it down with stuff, it's going to get less, but it does 25 if it's unloaded. So, and there were two at the time. There was two of them. There was one that was up in Los Angeles, and the other one was in Vegas, of all places. Of course, I went up and got the one in Los Angeles, but because at the time our vehicle had died. Like I said, I don't watch television really, but I did see on the internet, I saw one of the South Park ones, and it's my favorite scene of all time in anything I've ever seen as far as a cartoon. When the Mr. Garrison, who's the teacher, wanted the kids each to send $1 to Iraq, for the poor people in Iraq. And
oh my!
So they said
we have.
Yeah.
Oh no! Tell further.
All right.
We have someone new in the chat. That's about gaming, and he says first time watching, and the question is, what is the estimate interval time of umbrella cockatoo pooping?
About 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, they had to send money to Iraq, and the kids in Iraq were all pissed off about it. So they send this crate to the United States. So here are the kids in South Park, and they got the police, the military, and everything surrounding this crate. And then they open the crate, and out comes a goat, and the goat goes, "Meh, meh," and somebody goes, "Oh, it's all right. It's Stevie Nicks." And I thought I was going to die laughing because, I like Stevie Nicks, but everything's vibrato to her. She doesn't understand you can have a solid tone. So it seems like everything she sings is vibrato. So I really thought I was going to fall out of the chair when I saw that.
I once walked past a construction site that sounded like Stevie Nicks. It was the best thing. Like all the like the pneumatic press or whatever. It was like thumping in time to the beat of Edge of 17.
Yeah, I like vibrato as much as the next guy, but not on everything. You know, it was like the old, way back in the old organs that people used to have in their home, electric organs. The vibrato, that's what it sounds like. You know, it just doesn't sound right. But anyway, not much TV I watch, but watching it with Romeo, and Romeo is he's just doing a heck of a lot better now. See what happens. I've got to do his nails in the next week, so he'll probably revert again, but can't have him walking around with nails that are past. I look for an angle no more than 90 degrees. And the reason I say that is because they're on perches. A lot of people cut them down a lot shorter than that. And I don't see how you hold on to a perch. If, like with Lucy's are a little bit long, you might be able to see it, but depending on the size of the perch, you want to have a little nail there. And I think the reason the vets cut them down so short is so you don't have to come back as often, right? Because if they cut off like I do,
responsible vets usually don't want to, overcharge you or that you come too often. So when you can do it at home and just put off little pieces, so it's probably better than when the vet does it every few months or weeks. But otherwise, some people have to try to drive large distances to get to the vet. So
or they take them to a bird store, and that's a big mistake because people are coming in and out all the time, and all that dander that's in the air can carry disease, and it's cheap, and they want you in their store because they hope you're going to buy something else, but you're just taking a chance on bringing disease home. Got to learn how to use clippers, or most people should just use clippers, and then make sure you have. I like using Super Clot, but you can use Styptic. It works too. Nice thing about Super Clot is it has a disinfectant and also a painkiller, and it has lidocaine in it. So, Cecil, you having fun?
He's so adorable. I love the way he poses while he breathes.
I like the Dremel myself because I can tell. I hardly ever hit blood when I do that. But when you clip, not every nail's got the blood supply at the same point, so you may cut off like a millimeter, a little millimeter of that nail. Kind of bring your foot up. You might cut off just like that much, and it won't bleed on this nail, but you do the same thing on the next nail and it bleeds. So, but if you're using a Dremel, you can see there's a white or grayish part of the nail that starts to show up. When you see that, you stop. If you don't want it to bleed, which of course you don't, because infection is something you don't want. But again, that's why I like the Super Clot instead of the Styptic. And sometimes I use both. Are you messing with me? It's like you stopped petting me, so I grabbed my thumb. So if it continues to bleed after I put the Super Clot on, I'll just put a little Styptic on after it. But that disinfectant's important. Then they shouldn't hurt either. So it used to take me about 40 minutes to do nails. I also record weight and all that. That's where I do the actual recording of the weight. Nails, weight, and beaks. I do it about 40 minutes. Now that I've got Mr. KK, so he doesn't like his nails done. I can do his beak. He doesn't like it, but doesn't seem to care as much. But when I go to do his nails, he does everything in the world to stop me. Cause curls her feet up, so she goes like this. And you try to get to the nails, you got to pry them out. It's not much fun. Sometimes that little monster will do it too. Was I talking about you, Lucy? Did I call you a little monster? Lucy. She knew I was talking about her. Spun her head around. I don't usually call you a little monster. Yeah, I'm talking it.
Oh, I think she loves that the new perch is moving, or swinging.
Yeah, she likes that perch. That's where she wants to be put when I bring her in.
Not
Although
some gaming
yesterday,
just says, but this stream is like they are behaving nicely because cockatoos in the internet are crazy sometimes, so they can get pretty crazy too. That's about gaming as cockatiel and finch, but is getting a cockatoo next week for the first time. So Don, do you want to tell a little bit about, getting cockatoo for the first time? What's the most important?
the most important thing, well, be sure you find out what it's eating. That's important because these guys are picky. And if you try to give them some, even if they're eating junk food, they've got them on Walmart food or something, which is the worst. You want to find out what it is and then slowly turn them over to better food. The other thing is don't give them any more attention than you're planning to give them for the rest of their lives every day. So if you bring them home and I'm going to make you feel good and I'm going to give you a whole bunch of attention for a month, that's going to be great. As soon as you start withdrawing it, you're going to have a bird that screams and possibly a bird that starts lunging at you and that kind of thing, because it's really rude to be nice to a cockatoo and then withdraw that. So the most important thing is not to give too much attention. Okay. The same amount of attention you plan to give from here on out. And there's a big tendency to give them more attention than that, but you don't want to do it. When KK came in, the other thing is some kind of special treat when you bring them home and take them out of the carrier. If they're in a carrier, I mean, the first one I got wasn't in a carrier, but if they're in a carrier, what you want to do is, like with him, I gave him an unsalted French fry. I just stopped at Burger King, got a small order of French fries, no salt, and gave him one. Then, of course, the other birds are looking, so I had to go around and give everybody else a French fry. But you want that first memory to be a bonding one. So, yeah, the number one thing, placement of the cage. There's so much to go through. The cage should be placed where they feel secure. Don't put them in front of a window. They're better in a corner. Don't put them in a dark area. That's find out where that poop went. Don't put them in a dark area. They want and they're social animals, so don't stick them in a room by themselves. The exception to be if you have kids running around, and kids can be pretty nasty. We all have been children, and we all know how stupid we were. So we just be careful that you indoctrinate any children that are going to be around, not to give the bird its space, not to stick their fingers through the cage, because the first thing the bird's going to do is want to secure its territory. And if it's in a cage and people start sticking their fingers in it or approaching too fast, they're not going to be happy about it. Which usually means you're going to get behavior you're not going to be happy about. So, main thing, don't give them too much attention. And if you got more than one person in the house who's going to be dealing with the bird, that rule has to stand. Tell those other people you can't give that bird more attention today than you will next year. So that's the biggest mistake people make.
Mm. Yeah. And never pet under the neck if you don't want the bird to mate with you, which causes actually lots of further problems. So just pet the bird on the head and train it there, but also not too long. We don't know if it's going to be a woman or a male cockatoo, but the woman or the female tend to vibrate then, and the male, they start to build nests around you. At least some.
They'll fan their tails. They'll start beating you with their beaks, or they'll start petting you with their beaks. Yeah. Not
too much petting, and when it looks like it's going to be a young bird, 3 to 4 months old. So Yeah, they might be quite docile, but they will come into puberty with 3 to 4 years, and then you probably will have a tough time. So yeah, be prepared.
Talk to the older people around you, that have kids, and what happened when they went through adolescence. Now you're talking about having a bird that is a completely foreign. It's alien to us because we're mammals and they're not. They're avians, and they don't work the same way, and they don't even breathe the same way we do. They don't have that same kind of red blood cells that we have. They don't even have XY chromosomes. They have something else. So you think, well, the bird's just, it's really just a great bird, isn't it? As soon as they go through that, I mean, with Lorelei, she's not in the room here, but Lorelei, when she became an adult, first thing she did was rip her feathers out because they want to mate, and if they can't mate, then they get frustrated, and they're, unfortunately, because they're bred in captivity, they have the tendency to mutilate themselves. So
yeah, and I'm not saying necessarily that this will definitely happen, but it's, these are all possibilities that you have to have in mind.
Yeah,
that could happen.
A good book on it would be helpful. Parrots for Dummies isn't bad if you have never had a bird like that, and you haven't. The best book on the subject, unfortunately, is not easy reading, but it's the Manual of Parrot Behavior by Lucia. You'll never get through that in the next 2 weeks. But there are some chapters in there that you can highlight. You could even email me, and I can tell you which chapters to read in there. But that goes from all the way from from egg all the way through their lifespan. Talks about all the issues, gives you all the scientific input. The section on feather plucking is not correct, though. Some of it is okay. It's the section on psychoactive drugs that actually tells you how to deal with it. Not that section was written by somebody who was using the old information, but the rest of the book, pretty much everything in it's true. It's unfortunate that the section on feather plucking doesn't really tell you that. The section on pharmacology tells you how to deal with it, but yeah, you will see me. By the way, you will see me doing some of the things I tell you not to do if you're watching these videos. And I just want you to remember this simple principle: do what I say, not what I do. I've taken applied behavior analysis classes with Dr. Friedman, specifically for parrots. And then I've also taken classes with animal training 101. And that's like saying that, I'm trying to think of the best way. There's race car drivers and there's people who learned how to drive. You may have a driver's license and you may be able to get around town just fine, but when you hit a racetrack, you're going to go off the terrain. You're going to go off the track probably if you try to go as fast as they do, and end up in the hospital or dead, right? So it's the same thing with cockatoos or with any subject. I've been doing this. It doesn't matter how long I've been doing it. I've had training, and then I started doing it. So I look at things from a different angle than other people. If I have a bird that's already mated to me, or I know the bird, I may be able to pet that bird for 20 minutes. It's not going to change anything. You try it, and the next thing you know, it'll be biting one of your friends or one of your children or your husband or your wife because you've created a mate bond. I'm already mated to Sugar. Okay. So I could pet her beak as long as I want. It's not going to change anything. But if you try petting a bird on its beak for 20 minutes, you may create a bond. I hear this all the time. You may create a bond that's going to be the horror of your life. All of a sudden the bird is biting people. It's all out of the blue. No, it isn't. It's your behavior. Every time you work with any bird, as my teachers taught me, anytime you're in a room with a bird, you're training. You're learning from them, they're learning from you. Okay? That's why some birds scream and yell and cuss, because they've watched people do it and they've seen the circumstances. Somebody's upset, things aren't working right. They can figure out that they're upset because things aren't going right. And then when things don't go right, they start cussing and screaming because they've learned that that's the right thing to do in that circumstance. So it's a big subject. It's so when you hear, I've had a lot of people do that too. Well, I see you petting the bird improperly. It's like, yeah, and I'm trained. I can do that because I know the functional analysis of the behavior, what they want, and how much they can take of a particular behavior from me, and that's different. I'm trained.
And the thing, I think most time you preened a bird improperly was with Peaches, and Peaches couldn't turn her neck. So she actually needed to be preened by Dawn because she couldn't do it herself. So that was a special case. And yeah, in special cases, sometimes you can really not avoid it, but we just advise anyone or recommend to not preen the bird under the neck because it can have really bad effects. And it's not like we are that's a silly dogma we invented. It really has good reasons. We tell this to people because often people come to us like, yeah, my bird flies at every person who visits me and bites it, and sometimes it even bites me, and that's basically the description of a bird who has mated with you and tries to protect you and doesn't want you to have any contact with any other human being because you are his mate. And and to get basically that behavior untrained, so sometimes you never can break that bond, and sometimes it's really hard to get this to an acceptable level, and then most people decide to get rid of the bird, which also causes trauma in the bird. So yeah, that's why we are actually recommending to do that, not if it's somehow possible. So, and also not that you not allow other people to pet the bird improperly. So it's just not good for the bird because it's a sexual attempt towards them, and they understand it as sexual. And I think that's not what anybody wants to do, you know, get to kind of approach an animal or whatever sexually. So
yeah, that's another thing. You have to be careful too, because you get sued. These birds can bite. Well, if they wanted to, they'd bite your finger off, but that's not the kind of animals they are. But I have been bitten. I lost a little bit of the feeling in this thumb because I was holding another bird that's no longer here. I should say here, but it was in a different place, but with us anyway. And Snowball had a problem with that bird because there was a territorial issue, and he bit me right about there and right down to the bone. And so I haven't got the feeling back in that finger, but if that happens to somebody who comes over to your house, they may sue you. So best not to let unknown people handle your bird until you're comfortable with your bird's behavior and you've worked out a good schedule for the birds in and out time. They need at least a couple hours out a day. 3 hours is better, but 2 will work. Yeah, there's just so much to know. I think I had an article on the new bird that I wrote. I might be able to put that up on our website or something. It might even be up on our website. I'm not sure. One of these days I have to go back out and make some changes to our website. I've been so busy since we moved here. I think I've been out there once. What are you doing back there? Yeah, they're complicated. Yeah, they're extremely social. I don't really care for getting young birds like that. It's that means that some breeder had them, and if they're only 3 or 4 months old, they aren't properly weaned. I don't care what the breeder tells you. Laura,
Michelle Thompson would like to know what your birds would do if someone came up to you.
I think we know what Bob would do.
Yep.
I'm glad you know what Bob would do. Usually he goes into his sweet little voice and starts talking to them like he wants to be friends. But then he starts doing what he does with Mander. He starts getting a little bit aggressive too. So he's both trying to defend me and be friends at the same time. And his behavior is complicated. Sugar, she fluffs up like a, I don't know. She looks like a big. I'm trying to think of what it looks like. But she takes all of her. Yeah, she just takes all of her feathers and sticks them out. I mean, puts her wings out, puts her head, and she starts going "Brrr, brrr," like that, And I got him going. Yeah, and that's her way of saying, "Stay away from Don. He's mine. Don't touch him." And she is not friendly to people the first time she sees them. So you have to. Now, out of here, it's different. If she was somewhere outside where it wasn't 100 degrees, she's outside. She'll be friendly to people, but here she'll try to defend me. Yeah, the behavior is different for every bird. This one here, she's not mated to me, but she'll talk to new people. She's real friendly to them and talks to them. And she has an amazing voice when she decides to speak in English. KK shies away from people, even people he knows. He's had a couple of people over here. He shies away from them. He's afraid they're going to take him away because he's been moved around too much. So he doesn't want to leave.
And that's a good sign. He likes to be where he is now.
Yeah, this over here, what you're looking at, talking about birds that, bringing them home. You don't want to give them mating areas. And I already had somebody say, well, no, that's not good to put him in a mating area. I said, you know what? I've been doing this. I'm trained. I know what I'm doing. What happens with him, and this is my conjecture, of course, it's a functional analysis. When he gets nervous about being an outsider, he goes to his box. If you don't give him a box, a place to go where he feels comfortable, then he just kind of gets more and more nervous and he's harder to deal with. But you don't want to give a bird a box. You don't want to give them anything that they can make, like paper to make a nest with when you first get them. A young bird, you're talking a bird that's less than a year old, that isn't going to make much difference, but in time it will. So you don't want to get them to get the idea that they can just run to a nest. It's natural. It's what they want to do, but it doesn't work in our world. So, hi, KK.
KKKKK.
Yeah, so he will run away from people. Lucy's friendly to everybody, because she was at a place where they used her as a greeting. That's why her beak is screwed up and why she doesn't have any feathers on her chest, because they didn't care. She was just a greeter for people who came in. They messed, and it was an animal hospital. They damaged her beak and they let her go bald on her chest, and that was strictly because they didn't care. Snowball's friendly to everybody. He's not mated to me. He's friendly. Mander's friendly to everybody, but don't turn your tail to him. And don't have a beer in your hand, a hoodie, or a hat on. Otherwise, he'll be friendly to everybody. Pippa will eat women. She's good at that. She likes lady fingers. They're the best. Real lady fingers. Lorelei's friendly to people. She approaches them and usually will say hello, which she doesn't do regularly, except when new people come around. Romeo will try to, he is a Romeo. He's a Casanova when women come around. He comes over and says, I love you, I love you, I love you. And he'll let women pet him. Men, it depends. Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
We have a question by GTH. What's a good age to put one on a harness and start to go, say, to a park?
Any age will do. The earlier, the better. The sooner you train them. And use the aviator harness. That's the best one. The other ones, they have snaps and things, and that can cause problems. It can pinch their skin or whatever. So the aviator harness takes a little getting used to learning how to put it on, but that's the one I use. So yeah, go with an aviator harness. Anytime. Doesn't matter how old they are. Well, I mean, if they're unfeathered, I wouldn't take them out. But when I got Lorelei, she was 3 months old. I didn't even know that was wrong. I mean, I just didn't know. So I was thinking like a human. Well, Chloe can't have babies because they neutered her, so maybe she'd like to have a baby around. Well, she did treat Lorelei as her baby. She did, but that was just by sheer luck. It could have worked out just the other way. What's this thing doing in my environment? It could have been a problem, but it wasn't. I got lucky. You get lucky sometimes, but with these guys, you would rather have your brain engaged than your luck, because like I think it doesn't make sense to us that if someone comes over, you're holding a bird, and someone comes over who wants to give you a hug, it doesn't make sense to you that they just turn around and bite you. People will tell me that kind of bite is, well, it's just like out of the blue. No, it isn't out of the blue. They saw that other person as a threat, and they bit you to warn you. Remember, when they're biting their own kind, they're biting feathers. Okay, we don't have feathers, and it hurts when you get bit. So they do a lot of things. Hi, KK. What are you doing in there? See, he gets in there and he looks a little like, and I think that's where he goes when he just doesn't feel like he's a part of it. When these birds, when they come out later, and it's just him, he comes right over, dives down this cage over here, down there, wants me to pick him up, and then he sits on my lap for half an hour. I pet him on the head, talk to him for a little bit. I watch to make sure he doesn't fan his tail. Or if he starts trying to bang his beak on which is what he does, he'll start banging his beak on my hand. And I just put him up on the arm of the chair and talk to him until that behavior goes away. And a little later, I'll pet him again and watch for any kind of behavior changes. So, but he's just blending in now. So it takes a while for them to kind of get not as bad as with Jasmine now. That was certainly the worst 2 weeks of my life. I thought she was going to die. I didn't get any. I got 4 hours or 3 hours of sleep a night, giving her medicine in the middle of the night. She was hanging herself. She was taking her body and wrapping it up into. I had to take all the hanging toys out because she was trying to hang herself on them. It was awful. And then it was just almost like magic fairy dust came down, which everybody believes in, right? This magic fairy dust that makes everything okay. The one I hear the most is, oh, if you have love, if you show them love, it solves everything. I'll kiss my hind end. That's not true. You have to show them, kindness, loving kindness, but love doesn't solve everything. Knowledge solves a lot more. You need both. You need the ability to show them loving kindness and also knowledge to know what's going on. Complicated. Yeah, I see that tail flash up there, girl. Now look at those beautiful feathers. Yeah, hi, Jazzy Jazzbird. Caught her in the middle of a display. She was flashing her tail, so trying to get her to display a little bit more.
Some flappy displays.
Yeah, and when you see me sitting in here with these birds, it looks easy, but you never know what's going to happen next, and you have to deal with it. When Bob's in here, which I can't have him in here with the phone. I mean, when I'm taking a video, where I'm doing a video, I can't be holding a phone and trying to deal with him trying
to
go.
Look at Amanda sitting there and being quiet instead of doing jungle signs and entertaining the crowd.
Well, maybe I can get it. You want to do something entertainment? Let's do something entertaining. It's all right. It's all right. You have to go to the bathroom. Go ahead. All right.
But he goes to the bathroom.
Bang! No, he's not going to do that either. He's just happy to be here. It's all right. Calm down. It's okay. Get back up here. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disturb you. Are you okay? You don't want to do anything right now, do you? He just wants to sit here. Yeah. It's okay, but you don't have to do anything. It's all right.
No, we don't force the man. If he wants to have a quiet time, then
yeah, you can try. I mean, you can do it like with that. I just tried. He wasn't interested, so I stopped. But one other good thing is if you're getting a bird early on, start training. Like 5 or 10 minutes every three times a week. Train them to follow your finger, which is targeting, and then move on to step up and that kind of thing. Even if they're currently stepping up, you still have to train them to do it on cue. So, well, we started a little bit late, but we're a little over. So, any last questions? Look at that look. Like you're supposed to be petting my beak. Yeah, that's that look
that
too.
big eyes, Mander and Shuggy, like, oh, yeah, that's the needy Moluccan crowd.
I
And
think that's
who gets a visit over there? Wait, who climbed up there? Was that Cecil and Snowball? Snowball got away on the other cage.
Snowball wasn't quite sure why Cecil was climbing up there. I think Cecil wanted to preen Snowball, but
probably they were friends.
Yeah, they are friends. Yeah, they can get along.
Yeah, but I think he isn't sure about Cecil because Cecil can go super wild and crazy, and that's not the cup of tea of Snowball.
Yeah, I think Snowball sometimes forgets he's friends with Cecil, doesn't he?
Yeah. It depends, like, he doesn't have a toy in his beak, so Snowball should be able to figure that out. I hope we get that bigger cage for him, though. He's in a bigger cage now, and it's obvious he likes it, but if I get him in one of those 507s, he's going to be in seventh heaven, so. And that'll leave this larger cage that I got just a couple of days ago to put somebody else in.
I think I've heard a Bob at the back ride.
Yeah. He's probably figuring sooner or later I'm going to get him out. He knows that, so. Okay, guys. Well, thank you for being here. And I'm going to go back to work, huh? Back to work? Working with birds. I know. Working with birds. Big birds. Sweet birds. Thanks for being here, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for the stream, Don.
Oh, thank you.
Have a great time, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Eleanor. Bye.